Welcome back. Tonight, parents and students from across Oregon are taking a stand for education.
That's right. A group converged on the state capitol today, demanding lawmakers cough up more cash for schools. News Channel 8's John Becker brings us that story from Salem.
Millions of additional dollars.
A unified voice echoed by more than 2,000 strong who spilled over the state capitol steps. All here lobbying lawmakers to add $300 to $400 million more to the governor's K-12 budget.
Our next generation of kids will not get educated properly because we just don't have the will as a state.
We want them to understand that there is a groundswell of support from around the state.
6 years ago, this was the scene in Oregon City, a high school classroom bulging with 50 students. Today, crowding the halls and back rooms of the state capitol, parents and students told lawmakers without more money, class sizes will continue ballooning and districts will cut more days off the school year.
We don't have enough money for new textbooks. My daughter's classroom is so large that some of the desks are pushed up against the walls.
They're cutting counselors and they're cutting art and music programs. It just has to stop.
If we're going to give more, then you're going to have to identify where those dollars are going to be pulled from.
But Oregon's Speaker of the House says lawmakers already a month into session are just beginning to figure out how much money they can devote to K-12 spending.
They continue making the decisions they're making around public education and other social services. Why would people want to stay here?
The cuts in our educational programs, to stop the increases in class sizes, to stop the cuts in instructional days. We're here today to deliver a message to the legislature. What is that message? No more cuts.
A great education for every child is not just a byword or a fancy. A great education is a vital part of weaving a community of character and a society of hope. I can remember vividly as a young person growing up in this state, the many adults who told us as young people that we were important and that we were valued. And those adults, whether they were Republicans or Democrats or Independents or Greens, when there was a time of crisis, would rise to the occasion, would sacrifice even more that we might be able to achieve as young people in this state. That is part of our heritage, and that is part of what we are called to be about today. The time is now, my friends in Oregon, for us to call upon our leaders to act boldly and vision, not just for the current generation, for 7 generations yet to come. The time is now in this state for us to say we are not a state with little resources, we are a state with great abundance. The time is now for us to be bold and to trust in one another and to walk forward with hope for every child. What time is it? What time is it? What time is it? What time is it?
The governor has said that $5 billion is the amount that we should spend on K-12. Well, let me tell you, that is not enough. For the future of our state, for the viability of our economy and our businesses, and for the future of Melanie, Alexa, and Jacqueline, we must make education Oregon's top priority now. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm a junior at Canby High School, but things have changed in the 3 years I've been going there. Even more things have changed since I was a kindergartner. In middle school, I was able to play sports with the school, learn basic French, sing in choir, take art, and play in an orchestra. Now the orchestra program has been completely cut out. There are no foreign language classes in the middle school and no French in the entire school district. Our entire school is crowded. It's nearly impossible to get to class on time because the halls are so full. When I apply to colleges next year, I'll need recommendations from my school counselor, but each counselor has almost 600 students to oversee. I'll have to compete for admission with students from states where education is fully funded. But I'm not the only person who would benefit from well-funded schools. Those of you without children in the public school system benefit too. A well-educated workforce fuels Oregon's economy and draws employers. It is in all of our best interest to have a skilled next generation of accountants, doctors, nurses, teachers, preachers, mechanics, and legislators. We need to ensure that every student has the opportunities that I have had. The Oregon Constitution demands adequate funding for schools. We must demand our senators and representatives uphold our Constitution by funding our schools responsibly. That's why we're here.
Okay, first, before I start, let's give a shout out for all the students that are here today. Although we students act like sometimes we don't care about school, the truth is we do. We really do. I mean, after all, school is where we discover who we are and of what we're capable of. Schools are where we sharpen our minds and develop necessary skills that'll help us to be competitive in our society and our future. School is where we strive for the excellence parents, adults, and teachers expect of us. We value the opportunities we receive to express ourselves through writing, art, music, sports, and speech. However, as budgets get cut, the very programs we value most are too often the programs put in danger. How are we supposed to know what we're good at, what we love, and then put it to use? How will we get a chance to discover who we are and then execute it once we discover that? Not only that, but we value the skills that we learn in school, basic and advanced. We know we need them to compete in our world today. However, without excellent teachers and classes, how will we learn these skills? How can you expect us to compete in our knowledge-based economy? We want to be at the top, we want to be extremely productive citizens, and we want to be strong citizens. But without strong schools, how will we be able to? There are hundreds of us students out here who, instead of sitting at their TV or their PlayStation 2, we're on the steps of our state capitol representing 550,000 students in Oregon schools who are counting on our legislators to support our academic and personal achievement. We represent 550,000 students who are asking that you refuse putting our, and especially your future, at risk. We are here pleading and demanding that you prevent cutting funding from our schools. We love our schools, we really do. We love our schools. We want quality education, and we want to help Oregon flourish. So, we want to remind the legislator that every penny counts. Every cigarette tax, every lottery commission rate reduction, every beer and wine tax, which is among the lowest in the country, mind you, every reduction of tax giveaways, every $15 million that we find is another day for each and every single student in Oregon. Those days matter. To the students and adults here today, we want to let you know that we're building an army of students, the Youth Caucus, who is committed to reward the politicians who advocate for us, who challenge those who do not, by knocking on our doors and organizing in our communities. Students, I ask that you pay attention to what your legislator does. Hold them accountable and let them know that it's fair to expect excellence, but it's also fair to expect excellence from themselves. If they want us to be excellent leaders, excellent citizens, excellent students, we need excellent support.
Oregon education funding has seen a noticeable drop over the last decade, according to Stand for Children and the Legislative Revenue Office. When adjusted for inflation, today Oregon spends $611 less per student than it did back in 1992. Governor Kulongoski's 2005 education report shows his $5 billion budget for schools will result in bigger class sizes and a shorter school year. In Oregon, class sizes are 30% larger than the rest of the country, and elementary school classes are the second largest in the nation.